Hi all, my name is Lee, welcome to the channel. If you're new to the channel, it's all about making things. I started with woodwork and making electric guitars, which I still do in the background, but I've moved on to doing more metal work. So I have the lathe behind me, and I'm currently increasing my skills on the lathe, trying to make different things using different skills. So today's project is going to be a decorative bookend candlestick. What makes it slightly different is the fact that I'm using aluminium and brass and also a piece of wood. So that's where the decorative comes in. I've got a few different colours within the candlestick. But there's some interesting problems that I've been thinking about. So let's take a closer look at this design and I'll talk you through them. So as you can see, it's going to be a sort of symmetrical design. The 2D shape here is a trapezium or a trapezoid, I believe, if you're in the US or Canada. I'm not sure what the 3D shape is actually called, but as you can see, it's two of those. And in the middle, I'm going to have two rings of brass and then a ring of wood, and I'll hold it all together by making a thread, an M10 thread. So it should look something like this at the end of it. Now, the interesting part with regards to making this is going to be the work holding aspect. So I've already made one, as you can see here. This is my practice one. But the thing is on one end, this one could be, for example, the bottom. So I don't need to cut out a tea light sort of sized hole in there. But on the next one I'm going to make, I need to have a hole for the thread. And I also need to cut this side, but there's no way I can hold this in the lathe once it's been cut. So what I'm thinking of doing is I'm going to leave a section of this out. So when I turn this round and put it back in the lathe, I've got something for the jaws to grip onto. And then I can just finish by parting this off. So I'll make it this way round in the lathe and I'll cut the shape, I'll drill the hole and I'll put the thread in. But I'll leave a section off the end. Then I'll turn this piece round, put that into the jaws, and then I'll, using the boring bar, I'll cut out a 40mm hole into the top to put the tea light candle into. So now let's go and jump on the lathe and get started. So the first job is I'm just going to take this down to a 25mm diameter cylinder. 25mm is going to be the width of the top when I screw them all together. But the reason I want a cylinder, just as a reminder, is I need to be able to flip this back over and then I've got a nice cylinder I can put in between the jaws to then cut the back of this piece. So let's do that now. Next job, 8.5mm drill for a M10 thread. Of course, this is just my work holding, so the drill has to go in maybe a couple of centimeters down into there. So let's do that now. So I've set the angle of the compound to what reads 10 degrees on here, but on the 2D shape it's 80 degrees. So now we need to just cut that taper into the piece. So as you can see, I parted it off and I reversed it. That's the reason I left that extra material, so I could reclamp it in the jaws to finish this. So now I need to face this off. I also need to put a 40mm hole into the bottom of this to put the tea light into. So I'll do that now. So I'll start with my largest drill, 13mm, and then I'll widen that hole with a boring bar. So this is what I have so far. The two pieces of aluminium. I've got the M10 thread in them. I've also just cut the end off of a bolt to use as my M10 thread. I was going to make one, but there's no reason to, so I'll just use this. And just to give you an idea of what it's going to look like, it will be something similar to that. So pretty effective. I was going to put brass and a piece of wood in the middle, but I spun up a test piece of wood. I don't like the look of the wood, so I'm just going to replace that with just a piece of brass, so the entire thing can be polished to a shine. So I'm going to put a 15mm ring of brass in between the two pieces. So let's jump on the lathe and do that now. So this is a 1-inch piece of brass, 25.4mm. However, I've just measured it. It's actually 26mm. So I need to bring it down to 25. So I just need to take a millimetre off of this and face it, and then I'll put an M10 thread through this as well. So here's all the completed pieces. They're all looking pretty good. I gave them a quick polish just to put a bit of a shine on them. So now it's just a matter of screwing it all together and we'll see how it looks. I think it looks great. I'm really pleased with that. So thanks for watching this video. Join me on the next one. I'll see you later. Cheers.